everybody, and welcome back to Movie Files. Here on this channel, we love talking TV. We react to the latest trailers. We do unboxing videos for the new releases, as well as do giveaways to show our appreciation to you all. And like today, we also do movie reviews. So if that sounds like something you enjoy, definitely do us a favor. Hit that subscribe button and make sure you're hitting that notification bell to stay up to date with those latest videos. So as I had mentioned, today is a movie review, and it's for the new Netflix crime thriller, The Highwayman, starring Kevin Costner and Woody Harrelson, and it is directed by Lee Hancock. Now, before I get into the good and the bad and give you my score of this Netflix film at the end of this video, I want you guys to do me a favor and start your commenting now. Let me know your excitement level for this film if you enjoyed the trailer, and then ultimately, if you've seen the film, let me know your thoughts on the film below. So with that, let's get into this review of The Highwaymen. Alrighty, so basic synopsis without giving too much away. This basically follows two retired Texas Rangers that are called out of retirement to look for the outlaws, Bonnie and Clyde. Now again, like I do with all of my reviews, non-spoiler reviews, I always like to start off with the positive. And starting off with the positives, I gotta go with the performances up top. Woody Harrelson and Kevin Costner, two great actors. I've seen more of Woody's work than I've seen of Kevin's, but again, when I've seen Kevin on screen, he does a great job. And one of the things I really enjoyed about their performances was their chemistry. Now this film, without giving too much away, again, as I had said in the synopsis, it involves two retired Texas Rangers. And one thing I like this film didn't necessarily have to do was kind of go back and do like flashbacks to show us their history. It was just seen within their eyes. It was seen the way they carried themselves, that they were kind of worn down, you know, kind of they've seen better days in their past, but you kind of get that feeling that they have a lot on their shoulders. They've dealt with a lot of things that they don't necessarily sit well with them. You know, they did some things in their past that was kind of called upon in their duty, their line of duty, but it still sits with them. And I really like that portrayal that they gave us on screen. You know, they got good chemistry, they have good moments on screen. I really enjoyed their two performances. Now, that doesn't negate, you know, the other performances that we get in the film, because we do get some other actors that I've seen before and I like their work, but definitely I had to start off with the positive, with the two performances of our two leads in Woody and Kevin, and I really enjoyed their performances. So another thing I really enjoyed about this film was, we all know there's a countless amount of movies, TV shows, books about Bonnie and Clyde, but I personally, I know the surface level of what went down during that time, but I wasn't too engrossed in the story, and I did my research after watching this movie, but I like that this film kind of showed different aspects of what went down during that time of their killing spree. You know, I believe it took place over a 4-year span, and I really appreciated what the director did, Lee Hancock, which he showed kind of two different perspectives. He obviously showed that the police officers and the government and everyone involved that really wanted these people behind bars and wanted them, you know, dead per se, it showed that aspect. But then on the reverse side, it showed the, you know, not giving too much away, but it showed people close to Bonnie and Clyde, how they felt about the situation, that they weren't always evil, you know, they weren't always bad people. So I like that the director kind of showed both sides of the coin, and also kind of showed where the nation was during this time. You know, there were people, again, that wanted them dead, and there were people that were rooting for them, because in the movie they actually say this, they were looked upon during the 30s as a modern, you know, Robin Hood, where they stole from the rich and gave to the poor. But obviously we all know the end result that resulted in police officers being killed and civilians being killed. So they obviously were bad people. But again, I like that Hancock, the director, Lee Hancock, showed kind of different aspects and the climate of that during that time. Really appreciated him going into that aspect of the story. Now, something also too, again, I knew the end result of this film, and it played out exactly how I thought it was going to end. But again, not being too familiar with it, I think, and I won't give too much away, but there's a moment that the movie leads up to this moment. I thought that moment was handled well. Again, if you know more about Bonnie and Clyde than I do, you know how this movie probably ends. And I thought that, and I'll just say that moment I thought was handled well. But I will warn you, if you're not too familiar with the story, if you're not too up to violence, that moment that I won't give away, when it happens, it's very violent, just forewarning you there. But again, I just want to say, I thought that they handled it pretty well. Now, before I get into my negatives, there was one more thing that I really appreciated about the storytelling element of this film, and that was the actual cat and mouse game. Again, you have these Texas Rangers that have a history of doing a good job and getting the job done. And I liked how, you know, during the 30s, there weren't a lot of technology. There wasn't a lot of resources at their disposal. So I really liked the different elements that we get in this film, showing how they were going to figure out where they were headed and how they were going to find them. So I really like that aspect of the film of, again, a lack of resources and how they were able to use their resources during that time to, you know, get on this hunt for Bonnie and Clyde. I really like that aspect of the film. Alrighty, so now getting to the negatives of my review here. You know, there were some nitpicking things that I'll just kind of rattle off here. I wanted more dynamic characters. Again, I really appreciate the performances that we get from Kevin and Woody, but I wanted a little bit more dynamic characters involved in the story. Again, we have some really good actors that I've seen in the past and I like their work, like Kathy Bates, for example. I'm a huge fan of Kathy Bates, and she has a role, but not a big role. And again, I know her character probably maybe wasn't involved in the story as much as, you know, the screenplay was, but I really would have liked to see some other dynamic characters thrown in throughout the film. Again, that's a little nitpicking thing, but I will say probably the biggest thing for me was the pacing. Now, this film is 2 hours and 12 minutes, and it felt that way. I was looking at my phone, looking at the runtime a couple times, because I think the biggest thing was pacing, but also the story. Now, I know as probably the screenwriter, there's obviously is a beginning and there's an end. We all know how kind of, if you're not familiar with Bonnie Clyde, but if you are familiar with them, you know how the story's probably going to end. But some of the things that they kind of implemented, I guess I'll say their freedom, their liberties on the story, where they kind of implemented some things, some side stories, some side characters that really just didn't fit well for me, and it really kind of bunkered down the pacing of the film. Because again, 2 hours and 12 minutes, and it felt that 2 hours and 12 minutes. I thought there was a lot of dialogue that could have been cut out, some character moments that could have been cut out, some scenes that could have been cut out to make it a little bit more of a tighter story. And not that I was looking for this shoot 'em up, bang bang action film, because I do appreciate a slow burn, kind of a Western vein. It reminded me of No Country for Old Men at time, No Country for Old Men. But one of the things I liked about that film was when it was slower moments, we were just so engrossed in these characters, and they had these different dynamic characters that brought life to the screen. And I thought that's where this film kind of suffered, where we had two great characters, but then the story that they kind of went through and how they kind of ended from the first act to third act was just, it was just too many moments where it was just slowed down and just unnecessary moments, and not like stupid moments, but just moments that just weren't that engaging for me personally. So with that being said, ultimately at the end of the day, this is on Netflix. Again, you can watch a lot of my Netflix reviews. I have a playlist exclusively for Netflix reviews, and I think this is the perfect home for Netflix, because if this was in the theater, I think it would have had a very hard time finding an audience, especially knowing that we know Westerns don't do as well, you know, box office wise compared to what they used to do in their heyday. But, you know, if you are a fan of slow burns, kind of the Bonnie and Clyde story with different perspectives, this might be the film for you. But ultimately for me, the pacing and the story, the lack of interesting things in the story kind of didn't really sit well for me. So ultimately, I'm giving this movie a 2.8 out of 5. Again, performances were really solid. The perspective, the different aspects that they brought to the story was interesting. But again, that story and that pacing just really wasn't for me. But again, that's just my opinion. Let me know in the comments below what you guys saw of this film. If you enjoyed it, that's awesome. Let me know what you enjoyed about the film. And if you're more like me, if you didn't enjoy it, let me know what you thought about the film as well. So with that, 2.8 out of 5. It's on Netflix this weekend. Let me know if you guys checked it out. As always, give this video a thumbs up, share this video, and then also just a quick reminder of some content that we have on our channel now. We got some new reviews from us, non-spoiler review for that, and we also have a spoiler-free review for Shazam, and I'll have a spoiler review coming out closer to the release date. And also right now we have a digital code giveaway for Aquaman, so check that out. That contest goes till Tuesday, and then pretty soon we'll have another video that I'm going to be shooting shortly after this for a segment I used to do in the past and I'm bringing back. And then also coming this Tuesday, we'll have a new release unboxing for Bumblebee and also a giveaway. So definitely subscribe to our channel, hit that notification bell. Also, I haven't thanked you guys already. We hit 600 subscribers. Really appreciate the support. So definitely subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell to stay up to date with our videos, and we'll see you on the next one.